Lefty Podcast. Your boy Shaun Davis. We're brought to you by Onora Whiskey, NoraWhiskey.com, the premium American whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you drink.
responsibly.
Gotta drink responsibly. A lot going on in college football. Big Ten. Oh my God. How many teams do they actually want, left?
However many can keep bringing in money because I know they need it.
And then we're going to talk about how this affects Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
Practice buzz, left. We're going to talk about that as well. Your boy Kenny Minchie. What have I been saying, left? What have I been saying about the kids since the spring?
I got a chance to actually talk to him, ask him how camp was. So it's gonna be good to see what you think, and then or what you heard and everything, and kind of what he felt about things. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
what's pretty cool is that his makeup and just his story alone, I know it's going to make storylines in a room that needs to be disrupted with some mayhem like the transfer portal, but also some stability for a future run, which I think he's right in the pocket of being able to do. And it's showing for itself. I think that's football is the great landscape where you can really see uh, the creme de la creme, and it's not much narrative you can put outside of the product on the field.
Well, before we get to practice stuff, let's talk about the landscape of college football. Look, eventually Notre Dame is going to be put in a tough position because everybody's going to be in a conference, and college football is going to say you can't get into the college football playoff without being in the conference. At that point in time, Notre Dame is going to have to say, okay, let's choose to form a conference or let's choose to join a conference. But are you shocked at how fast everything is happening? I thought this would happen maybe like in 2 years. Well, we're seeing things happen like over a summer. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about how fast things are moving. I think that's just because people want to be able to act fast, and a lot of people have mentioned don't want to be the team that's the straw in the camel's back that really breaks up some of these conferences in terms of relevancy. Because you got to think USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12 to the Big Ten is a relevant transfer. So if you get Oregon or
Right.
big time school out of the Pac-12 leaving, it's going to all fall like it's Oregon's fault or that last team's fault. So USC and UCLA making a move first really put a shift in the dynamic, as well as Texas and Oklahoma put a huge shift in the dynamic of relevancy to conference. The Big 12, I mean, what's relevant about it when you don't have traditional programs like Texas and Oklahoma? Nebraska already left. So now it's like, what's the Big 12? Oklahoma State. I mean, nobody's going to watch that on the national level week to week, even though they have some solid games. And then you got to think, okay, Pac 12 drying up, even though I think this year is a very good uh, quarterback conference of relevancy. You have the number one quarterback for the draft this coming year at USC, along with Michael Penix, is a top five guy. Bo Nix is in there, so you got some relevancy and attraction to the Pac-12, but that's only after they leave. So now USC, UCLA leave. What are you what places are you? How are you feeling that on a relevancy? You know, these TV deals aren't just being thrown to conferences; they're being competitive themselves on trying to get the most attractive conference. And with the SEC having so much dominance, the Big Ten's tired of it. Like, you know what, the Big Ten network isn't good enough. We need some of that SEC attention and money. It's time to, swallow up some of these relevant teams. It's not a coincidence they go get USC and UCLA first. They didn't go get a Colorado. They didn't go get a Washington. They said we're going to get the big dogs in the other conference, and to be able to pull that off, as it seems so seamlessly, all these teams seem to be up for grabs or easily able to be negotiated with if the big dogs of your conference is just up and leaving like it's nothing. For Texas is just up and leave a big money grabbing school in and of itself to just leave the conference so easily. All these other teams are like, well, shoot, I could do that too. We could go get more money in these super conferences. It puts Notre Dame in a interesting space because what's the point of being independent if it's only two conferences that matter? You know what I mean? So Notre Dame being the ahead of time thinkers, they like to be 1, 2, or 3 steps ahead. You would think they had plans to make their own conference, or move towards that, because I mean, if there's going to be two conferences in like the NFC and AFC division, before it's too late, Notre Dame should make a move to make their own. But then again, staying independent right now works in our favor, but the future landscape is something where I think Jack Swarbrick made his exit because he's like, I don't want to make that move.
Jack is like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. I want to make those sweet deals like the TV deals, the apparel deals, and stuff that's cool. But when you talk about shifting the whole dynamic of the school, see, look, that's beyond my pay grade. I don't want to get messy fingers with that.
I knew when the CW was making offers to the Pac-12, it was a wrap.
Yeah.
I'm like, the CW?
That's like BET trying to buy some games.
Hey.
It is.
Hey. Notre Dame on BET would be dope.
Listen, when you talking about trying to get a new audience, a different audience.
Notre Dame on BET, boy.
It's what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump hung out with the rappers. Black America loved Donald Trump before the politics. He was firing people and, working with Snoop Dogg, all that kind of stuff. It was cool. So if Notre Dame took some of that, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
We might have exhibit or something where, T.I. show up to
They had Tyler Perry, House of Pain leading into pregame.
Yeah, they got like a commercial with Marcus Freeman. He loved to act. Marcus Freeman one step away from being the new Tyler Perry commercial or something. Why not? But I do think that I think for these schools to make it so easy, especially the big dogs of the conference, it's like Ohio State being like, you know what? I would just go to the SEC just because we can do that. It shakes up the whole Big Ten. It shakes up the whole Big Ten. So that's the relevance of what Texas and Oklahoma has done to the Big 12, because now, yeah, you may replace some teams in there, but I mean, Texas is why you watch the Big 12. Why you watch Oklahoma Texas rivalry is because of those two schools, and that's a big part of the Big 12 every year. That switching over to SEC is only going to bring way more attention to the SEC, because now you have two traditional programs in a conference where it's already traditionally tough week in and week out, and it's given the credit as the best conference already. You just added some dynamite to an explosive. So I think it's going to be exciting to watch the SEC moving forward because now Texas has got to have that rematch with Alabama at some point, like the national championship. That's a possibly regular scheduled game. That's exciting TV. Two great fan bases on a year to year basis. So makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. So I do think the SEC saw that as a power move, and then the Big Ten had to respond because we all know the ACC wasn't going to respond in a move that the SEC took, getting Texas and Oklahoma. So Big Ten was the only conference that could respond. So it ended up jumping over to the Pac-12 and grabbing the two biggest teams over there. That's just like chess moves. So they're eliminating the smaller conferences of the ACC right now, unless the ACC, the Pac-12, and Big 12 say, we're going to end all that. We're just going to all join together and say big middle finger to the Big 12, to the Big 10 and to the SEC, poaching our relevancy, poaching our views, poaching our ratings. We'll all just join together and be like the BRICS countries and be like, we're not messing with you Westerners anymore. So I think it's a microcosm of the world itself. NATO is the Big Ten and in the SEC, and then the BRICS country is everybody else. They said we're not trying to rock with y'all. We're trying to go our way. So I think it's a natural thing when you're going into capitalism and business, is that it's about taking over the relationship, the business relationship. It's got to be a 51-49 relationship in every business relationship. And so that's exactly how they're looking at it. They're like, we can grab way more money by poaching some of these teams, just like NIL. It's no different. Think about a team like Pitt and think about the head coach of Pitt. It's the same situation. Pitt as a school in the ACC that has relevancy on a NFL draft level, they're very competitive. They may not be the number one tier team, but they'll give some teams a run for their money year in and year out, making the ACC stay afloat as a consistent team. But at the end of the day, people aren't gravitated towards watching Pitt games week in and week out, even though they have some players, Aaron Donald, Kenny Pickett, Jordan Addison, guys that come through there that do great in the NFL. But Pat Narduzzi is facing the same thing the school itself is facing on at the end of the day. If Alabama calls your best player, it's Alabama. If USC calls your best player, it's USC. It's USC. Pat Narduzzi, no matter how good of a team, unless y'all win a national championship every year, because you're already putting guys in the league. So you're looking around like, what else do you want me to do? Well, you got to compete on the NIL level. That's just what it is. Pitt, what do you got to do to be more relevant? You might have to join these bigger conferences. Because what else are you going to do? You're going to put a ceiling on yourself because you're not going to get the traditional fame that you may want over a team like Texas, over a team like Alabama, over a team like Georgia, when it comes to elite players, because they looking at different things that y'all not at that level of. So yeah, you may get them and develop them, but if a team that is more glamorized calls them, because you're at Pitt, they're going to be interested. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it, Pat Narduzzi, because guess what? If Alabama, for some reason, called you to be the head coach tomorrow, you would go. You would. Because that's how this game works. You would go. You better go. Coach Kelly said, listen, I am giving everything to Notre Dame. He has felt like he has hit I mean, probably one of the rarest in this century, this decade, rarest opportunity in the coaching space to live out to the exhaust of your coaching tenure and then get paid more after. So if that's what Pat Narduzzi is shooting for, that's all you can. That's all you're going to garner from a school like Pitt in today's culture, in today's college football landscape. If you're not the top 10 teams with the most money that can provide the most NIL, you're not going to the national championship. You're not making the playoffs. Yes, you may produce some NFL players, but that has nothing to do with it. Nothing. People from James Madison makes it to the NFL. It has nothing to do with the success of where you are in the present. So when it comes to recruiting, NFL matters on a high level. That's why you guys still have your job. That's why you get the mid tier players that are on borderline develop consistent players. But if you're talking about retaining players with the nature of the game today, you're getting poked if you're at peak. More time than not, you're just gonna get poached. Notre Dame is fluid because we can get poached, but we can replace with better or equal to talent. Because that's the quality of program. We're a top 10 team traditionally. We're gonna float in that space where we just have to make the right moves, but all the resources are gonna be available. Pat Narduzzi's resources aren't always available for you in this landscape today, which is fine. Which is fine, but that's just what it is. So, you know, the landscape is you got to be fluid, you got to be consistent, and sometimes you got to strike where the iron's hot and pay where the money is required because, just like anything else, is pay to play, and the highest bidder in this scenario is getting some of the better results. And it's ironic that the ones that are achieving these things are telling you what it is. Georgia's telling you how much it costs. Ohio State's telling you how much it costs. So when it comes down to it, can any of these schools afford a Marvin Harrison Jr. right now? Think about that. Think about that. Can any of these other schools that are not in the top 10 traditional schools or the teams that are competing for a championship right now, it's only like 15. Can any of them afford to pay for a Marvin Harrison Jr.? Probably not. Pat Narduzzi can't afford a Marvin Harrison Jr. right now, even if he wanted to. Even if he wanted to recruit him and he was looking for places, Marvin Harrison Jr. would not look towards Pitt. Even though Pitt got Larry Fitzgerald, Jordan Addison, amazing players that have came through there. Tyler Boyd, right? He's like, you ain't got no money over there. That's the landscape for great players. Get players that are going to take you to the championship. So I do believe that a super conference is what things are heading towards because it's heading towards the professional model. NFL is a great model on the professional side because the money and everything is included. So you structure it on a free agent basis, which is coming along, but that's what happens when all this NIL stuff starts getting injected. Yeah, the quality of players may not be on the same level, but when you're talking about the championship teams, it's almost like free agency.
Lucky
That
Lefty podcast.
which forces it into conferences, AFC, NFC.
I don't know what else you can do, left. I really don't.
Jeez,
Uh, at this point, Notre Dame has to let it play out. That cat Jack Swarbrick did people awkward dirty. I know that.
yeah, he's leaving out on no direction moving forward. He's like, look, you handle it. I don't even. It's not it's too much for me to think about. But you gotta really think about it. Like it's starting to make sense with this new playoff schedule. All the bowl games can stay relevant and stay preserved. You
True
can get
that.
a
That's
sugar,
true.
bro. They can stay preserved and be relevant. They're not just some toss-off games. You got to win the Sugar Bowl to get to the next one, to get to the Rose. You got to win the Rose to get to, that makes it more fun. You got to collect rings on the way to the ring. That's cool, But at the same time, it's not a that many quality bowl games where now you got to think it's a slotted thing. So it comes down to 12 can make it because it's 12 relevant bowl games. Now, okay, if it's 12 and it's like 130 something teams, TV wise, we only want to start with the best teams. So the top 25, 30 teams can even have a chance of being in this 12 team system for the playoffs. So we got to cut the fat. West Virginia is not going to be relevant in this playoff system anytime join a bigger conference. So we got to start picking the best 30 teams or however many from the best two conferences to make the playoffs the most entertaining to watch, which is only going to drive the better players that now be like, okay, maybe I don't have to go to Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. I just got to get in one of the 12 teams that make it every year. And then it's fair game. Then it's fair game. That in my opinion can equal out recruiting a little bit where, okay, are you a 12 team contender? Because it's about making it to the second season. So you may not have to be undefeated in Alabama to get into the playoffs, but are you a 3 or 4 loss team consistently every year? That can help your recruiting because now top players are like, okay, I have the non-stress of going to a Georgia, Ohio State, but I can go to a Oregon. Oh, that's a pretty consistent. I can go to a Oklahoma, right? Hell, maybe a Duke if they start being more consistent, and it be at 9-4, 9-5 every year. If I can make it to the playoff, I can get seen in that 12 team, playoff system, that new season. Who knows from there, right? Maybe we can eve out. Tennessee could be in there. You know what I mean? So I think for Notre Dame, it would be crazy for us to stay independent moving forward because even as of right now, the highest we can ever go is 5th. If we go undefeated, kick everybody's ass by 50 plus points, go 12-0, and get to the playoff, we'll still be 5th. And that seeding could be, good. But then again, we don't get no buys. We don't. We would almost have to give ourselves, knowing if we went to the playoffs every year, we would have to almost give ourselves 2 buys during the regular season just because we know that we have to play the first round every time. That's what I'm saying. It's like we have to play the 5th round every single time, even if we go 12-0 and kick everybody's ass. So we would have to schedule 2 regular season buys just to give ourselves a chance to hit a second season run, because if we get like our latest bye in early November, late October, we're playing 8, 9 games straight. That's crazy. On top of a tough regular season schedule, we're not playing no, community colleges. So it's like, damn, that that fifth seed, we could play a solid first round. And then what? We lose that game on something crazy, whatever, and we a 12-1 team that's, in the history books as another team. But that's a crazy thing to think about. So, unless they give us special privileges, if we hit a certain number and then total our wins or whatever, we can be uh round robin or estimate, or so we can put ourselves in the top 4 spots winning. But other than that, if it's just straightforward, I can't see us getting out of 5. So for us, uh, it'll be very interesting, because I do think that just like the NBA, they have to start deciding if they're going to go younger in age. They're going to have to start deciding how much and how similar, especially with NIL and everything in amateur basketball, how it's going to copy these European leagues and have the professional leagues where start having club teams, right? We're going to start having a lot of things forming. If it's a capitalist system, it's going to eventually, because everybody wants to be equal and get a chance to make some money, it's going to have to turn into a professional system. Because other than that, people are going to start saying it's a form of taking advantage of kids and slavery and not giving kids their rights and all that. Because if it's a capitalist system, everybody has to, quote unquote, feel like they have a chance to make as much money as they can. And they'll be entered into it, busted wide open. So now everybody feel like they need to make X amount of dollars. It has to turn into a professional system. Because now, what's the difference between the pros? Like literally, what's the difference? Have agents now. The only difference is agents ain't calling general managers of teams. Now, Texas Tech has a general managing staff where the coaching staff has no say in recruiting, which now makes sense for NIL, because if I'm a player's agent, I'm calling the general managing staff of the school, arguing for my player that he fits there. You see what I'm saying? Coaches don't matter. You have to get through the general manager, which I think Notre Dame, should still, for Marcus Freeman's sake, to focus on coaching, knowing the limitations of NIL right now, knowing the limitations of recruiting right now. He can save his energy, and Notre Dame can put their money in a more productive, manageable space by hiring a general managing staff. That way, Marcus Freeman don't have to fly all around the world, especially if he's flying all around the world to bring guys in, and then y'all tell him we can't pay him. People are undervaluing how much time he wasted doing all of that. Think of how much time Marcus Freeman has wasted traveling the skies, polluting the air with CO2 emissions and global warming, adding to the global warming crisis. All to come back home, collect all the things he has just to be told no. That's a waste of time. So that's how they does things. Makes sense to hire a general managing staff that I'm the general manager of, where I can just recruit the players. I tell you who you're going to have, just like Texas Tech does. That way Marcus Freeman can save all that energy and put it into his acting career for these commercials, put it in the coaching and strategizing. What is he going? What is he going to do with all these two-way players? Working on his short game, on his facial expressions and his reactions and in-game, adjustments. Take recruiting off his shoulders and just give him the recruiting staff headed by Malik as the general manager. Well, I'll just tell Marcus Freeman, these are the players that we need to be successful for what you want. Because it seems to me that you get to do all this recruiting and don't get the players that you recruit. So let me worry about all who we can get or not, because now we have a staff, a team, not just a recruiting office that sends letters. It's called a post office. We don't need a post office. We need a real managing staff. Chad Owen needs to be, me and him need to be working. Because then that makes sense for Chad to be the highlighted lead recruiter and he's not a coach. Because he's a part of the general managing staff. That makes sense in recruiting. That would make sense to me and Justin Scott when Chad Bowen called him for him. Because that's the guy that he needs to win over because he's the general manager, not the guy in the office helping Marcus Freeman. Like the days of the right-hand man thing is over. Because his business is professional now. You need to have a staff that reports to people. Because the whole, I got my right-hand guy calling you back door to the head coach. It's over. It's over. Guys got agents. Guys want money. Guys, recruiting is 24/7 now. There's no off day for a recruiting visit. You need a general managing staff. That's how you handle NIL. NCAA requires schools to build general managing staffs that has departments that handle NIL transactions with their agents because they can get agents. They handle recruiting. Alabama doesn't. You think Nick Saban flying around everywhere meeting kids? Where is every picture that Nick Saban has with the recruit? Where is it at? Right in front of his desk. How many different backgrounds do you see Marcus Freeman in with some kids? You see him on the beach when it's cold. You see him in the mountains. You see him at all these kids' houses in different states. You see him in New York on Wall Street. You see him in the White House. You see this brother in commercials. See this brother in the desert. You see this brother in all different backgrounds. Going 8-5. But Nick Saban. Saint Nick. Got one of the best recruiting classes in the nation. Every one of those kids that committed to his school all got the same background with Nick Saban. And that's in front of his desk. That tells you that Nick Saban ain't going all over the world. Why? It's Nick Saban. If you come to Alabama and you get into Nick Saban's office, it's serious. That's when we take the pictures. We're not going to my lake house in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I'm flying in on a G5 Gulfstream private jet, landing on the private strip to take a picture with you to recruit you. It's too much time, Marcus Freeman. That's it's outdated. Nick Saban recruited Tommy Rees from his lake house. He didn't even go to the school to see Tommy. He said, all right, he called the front desk lady. He said, hey, shoot Tommy the little flight info. One of the little managers that work through the school that's a student.
Probably booked Tommy a little flight info, sent it to the front desk lady, shot him a quick email through his Notre Dame address with his ticket info. Nick Saban's not doing all of that. Nick Saban's at his lake house chilling and got Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees ain't even talk. Tommy Rees talked to Saban when he got there on the phone. Like, one of his little assistants ran out, with the little phone in the box. Like, here for you, one of them satellite phones. Nick Saban probably got some he got different money. So you got one of them satellite phones like Pablo Escobar. Tommy pick up the phone like, hello. Saban's at his lake house. He ain't even at the school. He said, Tommy, you're not leaving. Go hang out with one of my assistants, pick your little house out, and then, start running off. That's false. Marcus Freeman got to do all the extra stuff and then not get the guy. That's crazy. So, Notre Dame people backward, working with Marcus Freeman, should say, give me a general managing staff so I can be the coach that I want to be. Led by Malik as the general manager, working with Chad Bond and all of that. Problem solved. Give me my dog.
That was a pretty good pitch, Left. Hey.
Tell me.
Are your boys ready to grow up in South Bend, though?
Listen, the houses that Irish Quality and Legacy Homes is putting up, it'll feel like we still in LA.
I don't know about that.
Not the food, they don't have the vegan, all the vegan options. But the Midwest food is still the best food around. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get your all the best things that you want. Come out here in the West, you're gonna eat a bunch of ramen and tacos, bunch of grass options and sushi, and Midwest, you're gonna get a hearty meal. You get your meat, potato, vegetable, out here you finger foods, you eating cute stuff. Everybody want to make everything cute, just give me some food. So, it's burrito land, sushi land, ramen land. Good grief, You know what's not out here? Meat.
What's that?
If you don't have meatloaf in your state, you don't have a complete palate.
Oh, if you don't have a good meatloaf,
you're not making wholesome meal.
What's the best combination though, Left?
You gotta go
Are you going lamb, beef, pork, turkey, beef?
I'm talking turkey and beef. I'm a turkey beef, chicken beef, steak, a little flank steak in there. So fajitas, you gotta get a fajita night. You know what I'm saying? Love to, switch it up to different options for the spaghetti. They get now, out here, I guess Black culture in the West, everybody likes an enchilada. I'm still kind of weary on the enchiladas, but we make it happen around here, for sure.
Lucky Lefty podcast. I guess we can talk. Go ahead, Left. I'm wearing my Chicago White Sox hat. I already know what you want to say.
I mean, have you ever seen somebody get knocked out like that? Not out. Hey.
At this point, he is an embarrassment. He is an embarrassment to this organization. And then to have the audacity to jump up as if he wanted some more. Come on, man.
He looked like he had it at first. Like, I really think Ramirez got lucky with the over the top. You know, he was just swinging wildly. I think Tim was really trying to give it to him, and he just got caught with a lucky, you know, heat of the moment. Ramirez got lucky. He ain't want those. It's
Look,
just like,
man.
you know, usually when stuff like that happens, you go home or something. You still in the game, so it's like awkward. It's like, man, I just watched you get knocked out. Now I gotta play with you still. Like, that's the problem. Usually when stuff like that happens, it's like, oh, you go home, y'all talk about it all night, whatever. This is like, okay, next we still playing. So it's like, how you gonna get pieced up like that? And now we still gotta win a game with you.
And then Ramirez post game.
Oh, I didn't see the what he's.
You know, Ramirez post game was like, dude was talking crazy all game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He tagged me too hard. What?
Yeah. And I had to show him what's up.
Yeah, one of them. And I had to give him a piece of my mind. You know. Said I saw that Terrence Crawford fight and just replayed it in my
Man.
mind. I had to duck and weave and bop him up. I had to bop him up.
I can't believe it knocked him down, though.
No, he got him good.
Hmm.
That's why I said he got him with the over that Terrence Crawford. He didn't even see it. He just, my thing is, if the White Sox organization, do you trade him? After that incident, right there, it's like you have embarrassed Chicago in every way. Infidelity, can't handle your baby mama drama. And now you getting whooped on the field. I know it was incidental, but for stuff, you know, they traded Jordan Poole for getting knocked out. I don't see why Chicago is above that.
Y'all answer that for me. Shaun. Golden State traded the man they paid $100 million plus for getting knocked out. And Chicago can't do the same. That's what y'all do.
I'm with you, Ed 3. That dude got a soft chin, dog. That's a soft chin, left. Man, I'm watching it live, left. So I'm watching it live, and I'm like, yo, what's wrong with Ramirez? Why are you bugging? So he put his hand in Tim's face, and Tim was like, I'm like, oh, they squared up.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, they squaring up for real. For real.
They was really trying to square up for real, yeah.
And Tim's approach looked like, okay, Tim has some good hands.
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm like. He might really know how to fight. He just got caught. Like, anybody could get caught. Anybody. Like, Tim really had him, you know. Ramirez wasn't. I don't think Ramirez had any skill to what Tim had. They had to really do some boxing or something. Because Ramirez, first of all, he hit him and backed up. So I'm like, oh, he didn't want no. He got lucky. He ain't trying to really do nothing to it. But either way it goes, I just think the proverb that we can always live by is that you can't get healthy staying in the same sick place. So if all these incidences, direct, indirect, some mostly your fault, and the fallout it can be bigger than expected, you're not gonna get healthy in a sick place, Tim Anderson. This is one of the many things that are going to continue to happen. Because whatever your energy is in that Chicago White Sox locker room is screaming, it got to get out. Because you're probably embarrassed now, because you probably know you really could probably fight for real. And that you really went to squaring up with Ramirez because you knew you could probably beat him up for real. But when you got that bad energy, they say when it rains, it pours. And now you look crazy. He just need to go somewhere else. Don't go to Cleveland. You don't want to go there. But maybe you need to come out somewhere where the sun is, get a fresh restart, Arizona or something. But man, right now, Chicago is not the place for you. It's violent for you out there, man. On and off the diamond. Can't go home. Can't play your sport. Catch your hands in both arenas. Which you catch your hands at home and you catch your hands at work, basically. Shaun, what would you do? You catch your hands at home and at work and on social media. See, that's why this is where the money can't change everything comes into play. It's not enough money you can have in the world to stop catching hands on at work, stop catching hands at home, catch your hands on social media. Good grief. Good grief.
Left, I don't even know if he sleeps at home, Left. I'm being honest. According to the streets, my man might not even be at the crib.
Man, can't even be at the crib, man. What would you do? You catch your hands at work, caught hands at home. Get out of Chicago. Because, I mean, where do you go from here, man? Where do you go?
Well, he can't ask for a trade. They got a team option, I believe, next year. It's tough, man. It's tough. You know what else is tough? The Notre Dame defense in camp. Transition. Did you watch the USA versus Puerto Rico last night? Left.
Oh, the soccer game?
USA basketball.
Oh. No, I didn't get a chance.
It was weird. I mean, because it's no Steph, no KD, no Bron. And you're watching these kids and you're like, okay. And that's what watching this defensive line in camp is like. You have Riley Mills, but you're watching a lot of these youngsters, Armel Mooka, Devin Houston. And you're watching these freshmen flash. And you get excited about this year, but you start getting even more excited. Right? Because I'm like, yo, I don't know if Bron ever plays in the Olympics again. I don't know if Steph ever plays in the Olympics again. KD, I doubt it. And you're
Steph is
watching it
doing it not
saying,
because he can't, right? He's doing it
huh?
because he's like, you think Steph is not doing it because he's like, I'm too old for that? Old in terms of like
Um,
I should let the younger guys, not because he, like for instance, I don't think LeBron wants to just because I don't think he is built for it.
hmm.
Steph, I think Steph can do it right now, like no problem. I think he just don't want to play with that age group. I think where I think is a difference. Like, yeah, Steph
Hey,
been in the league about 12, 15
hey,
years.
let me tell you something though. That cat, Ed man,
Oh, he's nice.
he a problem.
Oh,
Oh, he's gonna be a problem. And that's the beauty of watching it. To whereas if Steph does play, Steph's gonna be the guy, right?
right.
Um, who else can play? Dame,
Yeah, they all can play, but it's like they don't, you know.
but the excitement, and this is what I'm telling you. You get excited about 2023 Notre Dame, but when you see these young players, the future is bright.
Right.
Jason Tatum, good call. Jason Tatum will probably play. He's a ball hog too. Oh my god,
Mhm.
because they moved the ball so well last night, bro.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It
They're
was
all
really fun to
they're like
watch.
unselfish, selfish players. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it was fun to watch. The defensive line, I think the defensive line might surprise people this year, love.
I thought we would. I thought like I always said, I thought our production would be better, but we may not have like a number one sack, stand out in the country where he's just killing it, whatever. But I think we'll have more sacks as a collective. I think it'll be spread out because we have a lot of talent where every game, I believe we can have a different defensive lineman make a significant impact in the game some way. Where a Jordan Patello could have a consistent effort, but then Riley Mills flash, or then a Jason Onye flashes for a game, has a couple sacks, or John Baptiste flashes for a couple games. And, so I think from an offensive scouting standpoint, it's not like it's like, oh, they got Fauci, that's our guy, we got target. But if we start doubling Jordan just because they say he's number one and got Jason Onye one on one all day and he's killing, and then you start sliding Jason Onye, then you get a Tyson Ford rotating in, or you get, Howard Cross coming in, or, somebody else that can make an impact. So I think that makes the defense more effective along with the different schemes of blitzes and stuff we got going on. So the defensive line through the system and the scheme, but also through the individual talent, whereas better than average. We have better than average talent on the D line where we may not have the 4-star number one defensive pick in the draft, but he ain't no seventh round pick either. So you gotta think you put a bunch of, you know, 4, 5, 3 round type of players, but all of them are not just, superstar and then everybody else, but they all kind of float in that above average to pretty good range. And I think that is a good cesspool of talent to pop out a couple superstars. It may not be the ready-made, ready to go, ready to get drafted and make impact NFL defensive players that Georgia been getting drafted the last 2 seasons. But right below that, I think we have a good amount of players that in the right opportunities throughout the season, because we don't know, they may show themselves as that lead dog. We have a room where are festering a lead dog to announce themselves amongst puppies that are looking around like, do I take the step up and go for it, or is somebody else gonna do it? I think we can all do it, but who's gonna be that guy that's like, okay, follow me.
Yeah. Yeah.
In that D line room. We have a bunch of guys that'll pop out and be like, oh, you see, okay, he can do something. Oh, okay, you can. But who's that guy that's like every day? Oh, yeah, we follow his lead. We all make plays, but we depend on him to be in and out. I mean, we depend on him to be there day in and day out.
And then on the offensive line, I love the fact that Joe Rudolph knows he has his center, 2 tackles, and he's mix matching. Everybody almost has to learn how to play a different position. Like, you're not a specialist yet. Because you're not a specialist yet.
That's right.
Yeah. Blake Fisher's a specialist. Joe Alder's a specialist.
That's right.
Everybody else, you got to learn how to play interior, exterior. And I think that bodes well. Because during the season, it's going to be a lot of injuries. And you want to be able to put the best 5 out there no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And Joe Rudolph is making sure that he has that capability in camp.
That's right. And I think that's and what's great about that is because, why Notre Dame was also very productive is the versatility and having different positions being played out. Guys like Alex Bars, guys like Steve Elmer, guys like what's his name? Guy we interviewed, Robert Haney. Is that his name? Is that right?
Robert Hainsey, bro.
Robert Hainsey. I thought I said it right.
Ooh, I feel bad for Robert Hainsey, boy. That dude went from snapping the ball to Tom Brady to snapping the ball to Baker Mayfield.
And then you got guys like Aaron Banks, guys that played inside, outside. And I think what makes it good is that when they do take that next step, they're playing seamlessly in between positions. Zach was playing in between positions. Nick was playing. So it's like the way that they have structured the fluidity in the offensive line, I think, is very healthy for that depth issue, because depth always becomes an issue later in the season.
Now, this is not me, Left. This is not me. I actually said this back in April. People probably didn't listen to me, though. I looked at my boy B. Drisk practice report from the other day. I saw that he said that Kenny Minchie had the best physical skills of anybody in the quarterback room.
Of course.
Now, wait, hold on. I pointed this out in the spring. I'm like, and it goes back to what you said last week when Marcus Freeman said what he said about Steve Angeli. And you were like, what? No. That ain't it. You come in with the attitude that I'm going to get this job. Not, well, I'm trying to work my way up. No. So now they hear Kenny Minchie is putting it together in certain practices. Look, he might not be the number 2 coming out of fall camp. He might. But there's no question. Touch, arm strength, just physical ability, I see why Pat Narduzzi is mad. Because his quarterback is at Notre Dame. I would be mad too. And it's crazy that one of the worst things to happen is the fact that Kenny Minchie is talking about walk-on wide receivers. That lets you know his mentality. He's like, all right, my reps don't have to be with the starters. I'm going to kill it with these walk-ons and third string. Kenny Minchie is talking about, oh, that's my dog right there. That third string guy, yeah, me and him, we got a good rapport. Ain't no excuses.
Yeah, anything.
Ain't no excuses.
For what? You like, listen, I called up here. That goes a long way. Kenny Minchie called up to school and said, hey, is there something open for me? That's a kid that's like, anything good, I'm taking advantage of. I don't have to, you don't got to give me much. I'm going to just, you grateful for the opportunity. Not that Steve Angeli isn't grateful. We're not saying that. It's the attitude and the intention behind the gratefulness. You're grateful you got the chance to go to Notre Dame. They both are. Steve seems to be grateful for the opportunity to come under the wing of a man that just got there the other day, that is whispered about throughout college football as being a good college football quarterback. That's fine. Then there's other attitudes that are grateful to be at Notre Dame because they done messed up for letting me in the door. Now you can still get to the same place doing it each way, but at the same time, I prefer a guy that wants and looks at the opportunity at any moment, no matter who's he there with, because he's going to make those guys better. And that's the trait that I feel like stands out the most, is that the opportunity for you to get in, you know that the guys playing with you are going to be better. So yeah, he's going to look like my guy because I'm throwing it to him in places where he's going to be highlighted, I'm going to be highlighted, and we can build on something. I always felt like that was my mentality. And I think Kenny has some traces of that where, the gratefulness of getting a chance to have the competition edge of, if I got to make it work with the non-highlighted guys. I mean, that's the challenge every quarterback should gladly take on if they want to prove a value to the team. That, yeah, I don't need all the glitz and glamour to be nice. I'm nice because I make y'all nice. And I think Kenny rocks that way. I got a chance to. Oh, okay. I got
No,
a
I was
chance
about
to.
to say, well, how was your conversation with him?
Yeah, I got a chance to ask him about camp, and he's really excited about what he's doing, just what he wants to work on, and it's things that uh, I end up finding out how to work on better later in my career. But I got a chance to holler at him and just encouragement, man. I'm a real big fan of the makeup of what he's displayed on what he wants from the position, because it requires a lot. It's not for the weak of heart. I don't think the position at Notre Dame is for somebody that just wants to play college football at quarterback. It's somebody that understands that you're gonna have to really put your guts into it, because it will swallow you up if you're not intentional on trying to win at a high level. So yeah.
Lucky Lefty podcast. And last but not least, The coaches poll came out, left. Notre Dame is not in the top 10. Like usually, you throw a fit. You were kind of chill when the poll came out.
I mean, how can you be anything more than chill when, you lose some swag points when you're trying to build a staff and you turn around and can't build a staff, Coaches looking like, dang, man, you can't call your own shots over there at Notre Dame, young Marcus Freeman. That ain't top 10. You know what I mean? So I think his respect is going to come when he starts to win. And that's all it's going to come from. I think Notre Dame is a unique position like that where you're not going to get the fame for like Lincoln Riley. Well, maybe at Notre Dame. But you're not going to get the fame for being known in a position. Oh, I got this guy to the league. I got this guy to the league. Oh, da da da. No, you're pretty generally known for either having a fantastic quarterback or winning games. Legacy don't even matter for real. Because if you ain't winning games, it's like LA. If you come to LA and not winning rings like the greats, this is LA. We don't care what you did, Anthony Davis, at the Pelicans. We don't consider you great because you ain't doing it with the Lakers. It's kind of how Notre Dame is. So until Marcus Freeman is spanking people, I don't think the coaches are going to give Marcus Freeman the respect because they just think they can hire anybody for the job, But you got to really know how to grow in that Notre Dame soil to produce anything that tastes good, because there's some soil that can taste really, phenomenal, or you can have some soil that, tastes like soil.
For this to be like the last year of the Pac-12, I'm excited to see some of these Pac-12 games.
Oh yeah, it's quarterback city, Pac-12, man.
They come in at 13 left. Tennessee is in front of them. Washington is in front of them. Texas is in front of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good start. 13 being right smack dab in the middle. I do think we're outside the top 10 because I just don't know what we're gonna put out there yet. When
the
it matters.
Clemson be in the top 10 though.
Yeah, they're gonna give Clemson the top 10 through legacy as Dabo. They're not gonna count out Dabo as one and did too much. They're gonna give him a chance with a second chance with Cade Klubnik, trying to see if he's got the momentum of his generational quarterbacks that Dabo has been putting out. So, it's the early predictions are always the hypest teams going in through preseason. We knew we wasn't going to get a lot of preseason hype, just especially after watching the oddest thing ever in college football history for a team to lose their starting quarterback to get a one that we believe is better. Generally, everybody believed is better. To not get any better in the win or loss column from the year before, and the quarterback we lost goes to a team where they say not only did we lose the quarterback, the offensive coordinator also, to a team that's supposedly way more threatening than we are when we lost a guy that made y'all more threatening. How do we lose a guy that makes another team way more threatening than we are when we had them both? That's just so for us to not get better or worse, adding and subtracting players that can make our team better is the most interesting conundrum in college football storylines, and also why I believe 13 is a great place. Because 13 is a very interesting number, but from the rankings, it's a purgatory type place. Because being 13, you can drop to 18 really quick. Or you can jump up to 6 really fast too. So it's an elevator number. You dropping to the top or hitting the top floor, or you dropping to the bottom or hitting the top floor. So for us to not get better or worse by Vegas, with us adding a better quarterback, in most people's opinion, he was which is crazier. He didn't make the top. We didn't make the top 10 transfers this year with the number one transfer quarterback in the transfer portal. The number one transfer quarterback in the transfer portal goes to a better team, and we don't make the top 10 transfers. And the quarterback that we had on our team that transferred because of the guy we brought in somehow makes the top 5. I don't know if this is disrespect to Notre Dame and the efforts, or people don't take us serious, or people just don't believe we can break through. But I've never seen a narrative put on this man Marcus Freeman, because it's crazy. He's not on any top list for top transfers, coaches poll. He's not on no up and coming. But guess what? He made the top 10 list for the hot seat. How does the brother make the top 10 list for the hot seat in college football in his second year, make all these moves in the offseason, not get better or worse from no predictions? We still going the same record. New transfer, number one transfer quarterback, don't matter. All these different intangibles happen, don't matter. Get new coaching staff, this and that, don't matter. Same record. And the only thing you get out of this offseason, that he comes out of this offseason on the coaching hot seat. Coach's hot seat. Already got a whole new AD in year 2. After getting denied coaches he wanted, denied players he wanted, transitioning to a whole new stratosphere of TV and a pair of deals, trying to win recruiting when he's working 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards, all to get to this place where now he's on the hot seat.
And that's a perfect way to say you know what time it is.
Oh my goodness.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, Pettiest Story of the Day, brought to you by Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. Throw me on the petty train, Left. Sunday night, I was watching gospel music's biggest night. It's called the Stella Awards. The production was trash. And it's no need to be trash. I was
They still
embarrassed,
on
bro.
they still on VCR quality.
It was the edits, the cuts. You're supposed to edit to make it look like a live show. We know it's pre-tape, but make it look live. Bro, you got people winning awards. You don't even get them walking up the stairs to receive the award. You just cut to them at the mic. Hey, what are we doing?
They got the same production team that they had back when they started. They're outdated. You know how that go. They'll never want to give up their job. The thing about technology is an updating, evolving thing.
Left, people know. Look, I'm about to get petty. Because you know how we listen to music and we say, yo, the album is trash. Right? Or this Jay-Z album isn't as good as the last Jay-Z album, for example. Let me know, LL question of the day. Let me know. You can put me on the petty train. Am I allowed to listen to a gospel album and call it trash?
Yeah.
I'm just asking. Am I allowed to listen to a gospel album and say, that ain't it? Like, bruh, what is this? See, Ashley Hill said, hell no. Bro.
It's the same question as.
So you get a pass because of the subject matter.
No, because you got to be honest. If your daughter in 3rd grade comes home with a trash piece of artwork, are you going to be honest and call it trash? Or are you going to be like
3rd grade?
3rd grade? Okay. 2nd grade. Let's say 2nd grade.
Oh, now, first of all, I would never use the word trash.
Okay, you can't call it okay, but it ain't, it's like what is this? It's some trash. It's some trash. She ain't try. You gonna be like, baby, you need to try harder. Or you gonna be like, it look good. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Because all music that's inspirational isn't. It's just certain albums that just don't grab me. Like, it's some Kirk Franklin albums that I was like, I don't know if I would call it trash, but it was just like,
Kirk Franklin albums sound the same, just like Tyler Perry movies. They all got the same bass line to it. It's it's music that gets you going, but it's the same music. Like Travis Scott album, same thing. 3 songs in one, a bunch of production quality. It's Yeezus version. It's Travis' version of Yeezus.
And see, I look from production, all of that. It's just like, all right. I love Marvin Sapp. Love Marvin Sapp. Last album, all right.
Because you only know Marvin Sapp for one song. He got that one song.
No. First of all, Marvin Sapp's first 3 albums are gospel classics. You stop.
Name 5 songs. 5 songs.
Magnify Him, Thirsty. First of all, the whole Thirsty album.
See? That's that Pusha T argument.
No,
T
I'm
album.
telling you.
Pusha T
What
Daytona
are you
album.
talking about? What are you talking about? I just named 4 songs.
3 songs.
And then I said his whole Thirsty album is a classic. Maybe you name 3 Marvin Sapp songs.
Pusha T's album is a classic, but I can't name all the 2 or 3 songs off of that. The Daytona album is a classic. I can't name 2 or 3 songs off of that. See, but it's a classic album. I'm not going to deny it's a good album. You can probably listen straight through, but I can't name you 3 songs off the album.
I forget Time to Grind is a perfect example. Tasha Cobbs never puts out any trash. I'm a reserve. I'm keeping my mouth closed, bro.
So you might as well go ahead. You said this is the petty train. You got to go ahead and say it, Shaun. This is the petty train. This segment is to explain why. Oh man. Listen, I think music is music.
Tasha Cobbs. I'm not mad at Tasha Cobbs and her people. Tasha Cobbs will get a hit song, do a reprise, do a remix, do a live version, do a live version with a special guest, and have like 5 versions of the same song.
Radio
And
version, birthday
Yes.
remix.
Yes. And people will go crazy. Like, oh my God, Tasha Cobbs.
She done remade the peanut butter sandwich about 15 times. She done cut this corn
And
off, toast the
yo,
bread one time.
she is anointed. The voice is top notch.
Wayne.
No. Top notch. She's top notch. It's really nothing disrespectful to say. I just think her management has done a really good job of maximizing her.
Her style.
Yeah, she really hasn't given me
Range.
like 2, 3 albums of this over here, this over here. She hasn't. She hasn't. That's in my opinion. Jonathan McReynolds, him and Travis Green are probably 2 of the coldest right now. It's really good to see Todd Trippett back, making a comeback after Scandal. It's a new lady out, new young lady. I really have to tap into her. I think her name is Doe. She actually won Female Artist of the Year. And I'm gonna have to tap into her and check her out.
See, I feel like gospel music artists are the same as these new age R&B artists, is that they're recreating the sound that was very classic that I'm like, it's not original. They give me the Jared Parker syndrome, you know. They're trying to, you know, build off of that foundation, which is cool, but there was no better music than the 80s and the 90s, early 90s, 70s, you know, R&B music, you know, and that is everything now is sampled off of that. So it's just getting further and further away from the original sound, in my opinion. Less creativity, in my opinion.
See, that's the problem with me. Like, what is the genre? And
Yeah, I don't
you
know.
see, what is the genre, right? Because New York hip hop at some point started sounding like everybody else around the country. Gospel has
Commercial.
started to sound like hip hop. That everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's infiltrated when you used to know. Like, yo, that's gospel. That's the core. That's the soul. That's the spirit. That's the stuff that grabs you. Gospel music will grab you if you don't even believe. You ain't gotta be saved. Sit down and listen to a real soulful gospel song. It's gonna grab you. And for me, we got all the production and aesthetics to sound dope and get on radio. But where's the soul? Which goes back to what you just said about the R&B. I only think R&B has soul right now.
Shame.
Very few people in the R&B genre that have soul. Very few people in gospel that have soul. So, how much soul is the Notre Dame offense going to have? We'll talk about it tomorrow. What's going to be at the core of the Notre Dame offense? You from Ohio, right, Left?
That's right.
Who was the big? There was like a couple of big gospel groups from Ohio back in the 80s.
Man.
I forget.
Well, you know, we got that original sound coming out of Dayton, Ohio, so probably had a run-ins.
Have a great day, man. Spin it different.